Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Perumal Jagan. I'm so happy to be here after a long time. I took this break just to refresh myself, and from now I am planning to deliver more and more InfoSec videos through my channel. So stick with my channel for further interesting information. And today I'm gonna take up a TryHackMe challenge, and it's an interesting challenge that I recently come across. And this challenge is a web exploitation challenge, and will be having a web application which is vulnerable to SSRF, server side request forgery. I already made a video about SSRF, so if you want to know what is SSRF, you can feel free to refer that video. I'll give the link in the description. And let me give you a brief intro about the SSRF. SSRF, it's a vulnerability you typically see in the web applications, and this vulnerability ultimately leads to some information disclosure, which might be some crucial info. We can make the web server to request some sensitive information on behalf of ourselves, attackers. So that is the brief intro for this SSRF. Without further ado, let's begin. Here is the challenge called surfer, and surf some internal web pages to find the flag. So that is the simple description of this challenge. And in order to take this challenge, you have to be connected on TryHackMe's VPN. And I already connected to its VPN. You can see the IP address, and here I'm confirming that I connected to their network. Let's read the challenge description. Before that, we have to start the machine, and it will take a minute to spawn that TryHackMe instance. Meanwhile, let's read through the description. Wow, check out this radical app. Isn't it gnarly, dude? We have been surfing through some web pages and we want to get you on board too. They said this application has some functionality that is only available for internal usage, but if you catch the right wave, you can probably find the sweet stuff. Access the challenge by deploying both vulnerable machine by pressing the, okay, this is the guide to start the machine and access that. And once the machine is started, here you will witness the URL of the challenge, and you can see a small link here. It is SSRF, and it is linked to another TryHackMe room called SSRF, server side request forgery. And by seeing this link, we can presume one thing, that this challenge is based on the SSRF vulnerability, server side request forgery. So from this, we can understand this web application is having SSRF flaw. All we need to do is find a right place and tweak some web request, craft the web request and try to get some sensitive information. Here you can see the SSRF exercise. I already made a video about this SSRF on the same room, I guess. So if you wish, you can feel free to read through this. But before beginning the video, anyway, I'm going to give a brief introduction to SSRF. And you can see this image. This image is quite brilliant, and it explains the SSRF simply. With one image, you can learn. And here you can see a vulnerable web app on port 80, a typical web application port, and the attacker from the external network. And attacker can see the website, and port 80 and 443 HTTPS are allowed. And through this firewall, the attacker can only able to access this web application on port 80 or 443. What if the attacker wish to access the other internal resources like Postgres and internal GitHub, some other internal resources, maybe the information server, database, or whatever, the other resources present in this web server network? If the attacker wants to access those resources, then this application must possess some vulnerability, and it could be SSRF. And you can see the line here. Only the web app can talk with DB and GitLab. In a typical, in an ideal scenario, only the web applications can talk with these internal resources. But if the web application is vulnerable to SSRF, the attacker can manipulate some request and send it to vulnerable web application. Through that, we can make this web application to request to the internal resources, and we will be able to access those protected resources through this vulnerable web application. So that is what the server side request forgery is all about. The theory might be confusing. Let's get into the practical part. So here we got the link, I'm simply opening that link to view the web page, and here is the web page. It is landing in the page called login.php. By seeing this file extension, we can assume, we can confirm this is a PHP web server. The PHP is the server-side language which is being used in this specific web application. Okay, now you can see it landed in the login page, and the application name is 24x7 System Plus. So I try to Google the default password for this specific application, 24/7 System Plus application default credentials. First of all, I cannot see that respective application, System Plus. It lands in some other application, but I'm not positive. Okay, now I just decided to try the random credentials like admin, guest, admin password, like that. So let's try that. I simply tried a credential admin, username admin, password admin, and it let me in. It lets me in. So here you can see it looks like a monitoring dashboard, and I can see some sales data here, revenue, visitors, and here I can see in the recent activity dashboard, I can see some events, and you can see this pie chart. So it gives some search engine, direct, email, union ads, video ads, some stuff. Let me turn this off for a moment. Yeah, now you can see it clearly. And there are three options here: dashboard, profile, and logout. Dashboard is where currently we are in, and if I click this menu bar, it disappears the sidebar. So nothing much, but when I see this the bottom dashboard, it says report. It possesses some reporting function, and you can see it shows the server information, the hosting server information, the server on which this specific application is hosted. You can see its operating system, the server IP, and the IP is 172.17.0.2. That is the internal IP of the underlying server of this application. And you can see the server host name and the protocol, server administrator detail, server port, PHP version. This is the version of PHP being used in this application, and the system uptime is given. And can you see the bottom option, which is pretty much interesting, and it possesses an export function, and you can see the details here, the IP addresses, operating system, and all. Now we can use this export to PDF option, but before that, let's get into this profile option and see what we are having. And we logged in as an admin user, so that's what given. And this is just a description and the full name, the company name, job, country, and the address and email, blah blah blah, those details. And you can see the copyrights that belongs to 24x7 System Plus. All right, let's go to the dashboard and inspect this export to PDF option. I'll just try to click this export to PDF option, but before that, it would be better if I open this in Burp Suite. While I'm trying this export to PDF, it would be great if you're able to intercept this. I just switched the browser from Chrome to Firefox just for the sake of using Burp Suite. I also spawned the Burp Suite application, and in the proxy options, I can see the Burp proxy is currently running, and it is running on the loopback address, and the port is 8080. And I have to make sure whether I configured the same thing in this Foxy proxy extension. The IP is same, and the port is 8080. Looks good. It is okay now to use the Burp Suite, but before inspect this, let's read through this recent activity dashboard. Here you can see it actually records the system report generated time, recovered from unexpected downtime, system stats report generated, internal pages hosted at internal admin.php. It contains system flag. You can see this. Here is the hint. This page contains the system flag, but When you directly try to access this page, what happens? Let's see. Before that, let me turn off this proxy and try. This page can only be accessed locally because we are not authorized to access this page. We have some access constraints, but we can find the SSRF vulnerability in this application and try to read this specific path. That's what our objective. And we need to inspect this export to PDF function. But before inspect that, let me turn on this burp proxy. And here in the interception, I'm turning on the interception. Export to PDF. I'm simply clicking this, but before that, just note it down. Just remember, it contains the server IP 172.170.2. It's a private IP and operating system is Linux and other details. All right, now let's begin. I clicked it. You can see it is still loading, which means the burp is intercepting the traffic, and you can see the intercepted traffic here. It is posting some details to export to pdf.php file, and you can see the PHP cookie, the session ID, it is already carried in this request, and you can see that URL. Actually, this specific request is generating the PDF for this specific URL. You can simply keep it in your mind like that. So it is URL encoded. So I'm simply choosing this so that I can see the decoded info here. And the decoded info is nothing but http:// the loopback address, and the path is server-info.php. You can see the difference here. It's a bit weird because when we click this export to PDF, the specific host server information should be exported as PDF. I mean the 172.170.2 IP. But here you can see it is actually generating the info for the loopback address 127.0.0.1, which means this can be our vulnerability. But let's verify that. I'm simply forwarding that request, and in a moment I'm seeing the PDF. So this is the PDF generated, and you can see the PDF is generated for http loopback address server-info.php. It gives the server info, and also you can see the server IP changed here. It is loopback address now. It is not the 172.170.2 anymore, which means whenever you try to export to PDF, it is doing as the server. Actually, it is using, it is actually trying from, how can I say this? It is just trying on its own. It is just replacing the actual private IP with the loopback address. So this could be our server-side request forgery. But let's do that. Let's try to capitalize this and try to leverage this flaw and find the sensitive info behind the path internal admin.php. I'll turn off this burp proxy. Now I'll get back. All right. Now let me intercept this one once again. Intercept is on. Burp proxy is on. I'm clicking export to PDF. It is loading. Moving to the burp suite. And here you can see the intercepted one. And I'm moving it to repeater. In the repeater, I'm just manipulating some details because I wish to read the contents of this internal admin.php. This is where the system flag is located. But by default, when I click the export to PDF, it sends request to server-info.php. So I need to change this path now. Let me do that. Instead server-info, I am simply replacing it. So this one, you can see, I need to remove this slash. %2f is nothing but the forward slash, and I am replacing it with %2f now. If I look the decoded URL now, it looks fine. Now, by triggering this, it will request this page as the server. Let's do that. I'm simply sending it in the repeater now. I got the response here, 200 OK, and you can see the PDF header. There is no error. It is simply rendering the PDF file now. I'm doing the same thing over here. Let me copy this from %2f. I'm replacing it with this one. It is still loading. I yet to forward this. When I forward this, here I am getting the flag. I successfully managed to leverage the vulnerability, and I exploited the vulnerability, and I was able to read the contents of internal admin.php file. We just obtained the flag. Let's fetch the flag and slap it over in this answer section. By clicking this, it is done. We accomplished the challenge called Surfer. And yes, this is what I exactly wanted to showcase. SSRF vulnerabilities are always notorious. If you come across this vulnerability, then feel free to patch it immediately as soon as possible, because it might lead to some sensitive information disclosure, especially if the application is in production environment. It might lead to some severe data loss. And yeah, this is what I wanted to explain. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you really loved this, feel free to hit the like button and consider subscribing my channel. If you have any other opinion, put it in the comment section. I'll read those comments and I'll share your valuable questions. And also, you can share this video among your friends. I'll catch you next time with another exciting video. Until then, I'm signing off. Cheers, and I love you all. Thank you so much.